Anybody who's ever been in a relationship will tell you that the relationship goes through phases. It goes through, one level of getting to know you all the way to wherever it goes, marriage or friendship or whatever. So, one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of people fall into these 11 relationship traps. It might even be more than this, but these are the common ones that I've seen. And you guys all know that I'm really in love with this therapist who's on Instagram. I think she's called the Millennial Therapist. I'm not certain though. But underneath this video, I am going to tag her Instagram information because I love her. And she makes a lot of these cool lists. And I have saved like 20 of them because I'm going to tell y'all all about them. I love them. So I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to read you and respond to these common relationship traps that I see a lot of people get into. And her name, I forgot it was right here. She is at millennial.therapist. Her name is Sarah Kuberg. So I'm going to put that information underneath this video in case you want to check out her page, because she posts great stuff like this all the time. So, I'm Queen Alset Haru, in case you didn't know. And thank you for joining me for the wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Also, leave us a positive comment in the comment section and stick around to the end, because I'm going to read some other positive comments at the very end. And I'm going to talk shit about them or respond to them in some kind of way, because that's what I do, okay? If you want to get a reading done, because I am a card shark, please email me or hit me up on social media. Everything you need to know is underneath this video. If you want to send me a donation, what I call a love donation, my PayPal is underneath this video. If you want to send me a gift from my Amazon wish list, my wish list is underneath this video. If you want to indulge and treat yourself to some Ask an Aquarius merchandise, those links are under this video too. Also, if you want to check out my Patreon, that link is underneath this video. All right, let's get into these common relationship traps. And underneath this, in the comment section, tell us, do you fall into any of these 11 common relationship traps that I see every single day? Number 1, not showing up authentically, being someone we think they want. So you know how you first meet somebody, and some people are what I call chameleons. And what I mean by that is whatever their new lover is into, they try to become what that person wants. I have a friend, every time she get with a new dude, I can tell she got with a new dude because she's into something different. When she was with the first guy, when we were kids, like 15, 16, she got into Islam. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. They broke up. She then got into African spirituality. Her and that guy broke up. Then she was into boating. Her and that guy broke up. So every time she gets with a different gentleman, she gets into what he's into and tries to fit, into that mold, but doesn't authentically show him who she is. And that's why the relationships fall apart, because she's pretending, she's playing a role. She's wearing a false mask. Number 2, waiting to set boundaries until we are sure they like us. Now, this is a problem because you need to set boundaries from day one. Day one. You should have boundaries with everybody in your life, including your family members, your children, your mother, your friends. You should have boundaries. These boundaries basically just mean that you let people know what is acceptable to you. So if you meet a new woman and you don't have a boundary with her, you let her do whatever she wants to do to you, say whatever she wants to say to you, if you don't establish a boundary, she or he is going to keep on running all over you. And eventually, it's going to be a problem. Now, in the very beginning, it might not be a big deal, but these things often break people up. A lot of people do this, like she said, so that the person will like them. But they're not liking the real you. And if they're disrespecting you and crossing your boundaries, that's eventually turns into basically emotional, mental, sometimes physical abuse. So you really want to make sure from day one you have established boundaries with everybody. Avoiding conflict because we are scared of being abandoned. Now, a lot of people do this. Like, something will happen and they won't say anything about it. They'll just kind of deal with it until they can't take it anymore because they're afraid of the person not liking them, abandoning them, things like that. The problem is that whatever the conflict is, if you don't discuss it and address it, it generally just gets worse. So you end up with a worse situation than if you had just addressed the conflict in the first place. If that person is going to leave you because you want to address a conflict, then that's not a person that you belong with. A lot of people have these kind of abandonment issues. They're afraid of people walking in and out of their lives. But some people need to leave your life. And if you're doing things like this, you're not going to be letting go. You're not going to be releasing those people. Expecting that we can heal or change our partner. Oh my God, Becky. I see this one every day, all day, throughout my lifetime. I have done this. How many times have you met someone and been like, okay, he's really cute or she's really nice? If only. I hear this all the time. Sometimes I have like a client come to me about their partner and they'll be like, well, how can I make them heal? I hear this all the time. How can I make my partner heal? You can't. You can't make a person do anything. One time somebody told me in the comment section, I make people do things all the time. Yeah, okay, ego. Okay. That is not true. You're not making them do anything. 9 times out of 10, they're faking like they're doing it to get you the fuck out of their face. Quite frankly. But the truth of the matter is that especially if it's a person that has to do with healing or changing, that has to come from within. You can encourage it. You can discuss it. You can give them books about it, but you can't make them do it. So that's a big problem. A lot of people think that they can tweak their partner. They can change their partner. And some of these partners need it. They need the help. But they cannot, you cannot do it for another person. Every time I've been with somebody in my life and I really wanted us to be together, that was my thought. When I was with Voldemort, I always thought that one day he would be a better person. I don't know why I thought that. I thought it was age. Maybe he would mature as he got older. But when you're dealing with somebody with a health issue, a mental health issue that doesn't address or heal or get that issue treated, they're never going to change. More likely, they're just going to get worse. When I was with the Taurus, I swore that I could help her heal because she is bipolar. And I was like, okay, all right, I healed myself in lots of different ways and I'm still working on myself. So maybe I can help her do the things that I did. Go to therapy, take her meds. I didn't take meds, but she was diagnosed with meds. So I was like, okay, I can help her, go to therapy, take her meds, get into, mental, emotional, spiritual health. Since I was, in it and that was my job. I was doing it with other people. So as a healer, I'm like, well, I can help anybody heal. Yeah, but they have to want it. I kept trying to make her heal. I kept on pushing books on her. I kept on pushing videos on her. I kept trying to make her heal. And the more I tried, the more she resisted. And she still, I don't know where she is now, but the last time I spoke to her, it didn't seem like she was very much different. Maybe more mature, older, but it didn't seem like her emotional state was very much different than what it was back then 10, 15 years ago. And I've had this happen time and time again. But it was relationships like her and some of the ones I had later that really helped me understand where my limitations are, even as a healer. So you have to know that one. If a person doesn't want to do it, they're not going to do it. And there's nothing you can do but just leave them alone. You can hang in there as long as you can hang in there. But eventually, in most cases, you're going to have to cut them loose. Not giving our partner a chance to show us who they are. This, according to her, is more denial and projection. So you kind of do know who they are. You're just choosing to deny it. Or you're choosing to project better characteristics onto them than the ones that they are presenting to you. So this is basically just lying to yourself, because you don't want to admit that you're with somebody who is fucked up, dangerous, harmful even. So instead of admitting that to yourself, you deny. I see this all the time. It's very messed up. Establishing a pattern of prioritizing their needs above your own. Now, in a relationship, things really should be 50-50. It shouldn't always be them, and it shouldn't always be you. Both of you need to look out for each other's needs as well as your own simultaneously. So that means compromising. Sometimes we do this, sometimes we do that. But if you're constantly, and I see this a lot with women, especially like older women back in the day, they were constantly being what they would call submissive. And I don't have a big problem with a submissive attitude if that's somebody's natural nature. But when you're so submissive that you never make yourself a priority, that it's always your husband or your wife or your kids or this one or that one, but you never do any self-love, self-care, that's a big problem. And 9 times out of 10 in those situations, all of those people ended up in bad emotional health, mental health, physical health situations because of it. Because they weren't taking care of themselves. They're putting everybody and everything above themselves all the time. I could see myself putting somebody above myself if the situation called for it. But every time? That's a definite no-no. Not speaking up until we are fed up. This is one of my old problems, and I still really deal with this because I don't like to argue with people. I really don't like confrontation because I know how my dragon is. I already know if I start to fight with somebody, it's going to get ugly. So I don't fight with people. And also, I got to really care about you to argue with you, and I just don't care that much about most people to argue with them. Strangers on the internet, like, come on, what are you arguing with these people for? So I don't do a lot of arguing, but I have been in a lot of situations where I did not speak up until I was livid, and then the dragon will speak for me, and that's not a good time because the dragon's not a good communicator. The dragon is not good at communicating at all, and will usually say something mean or fucked up that ruins the relationship. And then when I'm calm again, I'm like, oh, why did I say that? You know? So you got to speak up when you're still in a calm space and you can communicate like two adults. Offering more than we are able to give. Sometimes people they offer, like, I'll pick you up every day after work, I'll drop you off, I'll get you this, I'll do that, and they're just trying to get the person to like them or to love them or not abandon them. So they constantly offer to do things that's way more than the time they have available or the resources that they have available, but they keep on going for broke. You know, because they want to keep this person with them. And again, it's really not healthy because How are you going to take care of yourself, number one? And number two, you don't even have the resources to do what you're offering. Expecting the other person to know what we are thinking and feeling. Your lover is not a mind reader. And even if your lover is a mind reader, your lover should not have to read your mind. You should communicate your thoughts and feelings to your significant other. And really, all of these relationship traps, they can really go for any kind of relationship, even a friendship, a platonic one. People that are important to you, you need to tell them what you're thinking and feeling. Now, if you're not quite certain what you're thinking and feeling, then that's what you need to communicate. A lot of people get mad, especially at Aquarius, for this very thing. I hear this damn near every day too. But it's usually like, my Aquarius won't tell me what they're thinking and feeling. And then I ask the Aquarius, well, why won't you tell this person what you're thinking and feeling? And sometimes it's because they don't know what they're thinking and feeling. And I'm like, then say that. And other times it's because what they're thinking and feeling is hurtful and they don't know how to say it. Which is also something you gotta say it as kindly and compassionately as possible, but you can't just not say anything. So your lover should not have to read your mind. Your lover or your loved one, I'll say in this particular case, they shouldn't have to try to, pull your teeth or beg you to talk. You should tell them how you feel and discuss your feelings before you're angry, before your dragon is out. Allowing the relationship to be our only source of identity. Your relationship, I see this a lot. I see women, I see men who the relationship is all they have. So they go to work or they go to school, they might have some kids, but for the most part, the relationship is what they do. They're with their significant other all the time, and this is good. It's good to spend quality time, but not all the time. You should have another source of identity. You should have your own causes, your own thoughts, your own friends, your own hobbies. You should have your own things too, and they should too. And you should be able to trust each other to go do things and not do, not cheat or, do horrible things while you're out there. You should have, maybe for example, some kind of cause you're into. Maybe you're into feeding the homeless every Saturday. And you should be able to go do that and get whatever fulfillment that you get from helping others and not have to worry about your lady creeping out on you. So you should definitely have other things that are interest to you and other things that make up your identity that is not just the relationship. The relationship will probably be the biggest part, especially if it's a marriage or something like that. But you still should have other things. It should be other things that are part of your identity. I see so many people give up themselves to be with another person and then lose themselves in the process. I had a woman tell me the other day, she said, I don't even know who I am anymore. Her and her husband got divorced. And she said, I was telling her, she needs to do some hobbies. And I said, what do you like? And she was like, I don't even know anymore. I've been married, I think it was 16 years. And the whole time, everything was all about him and the kids. So she doesn't know. She hasn't done anything by or with herself in 16 years. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And she was like, no exaggeration. It's always been him and the kids. So now she's learning herself all over again at 56 years old. And I'm like, that's a wonderful thing. But if she had not have lost her identity in the first place, even if they had stayed together, it would have been much healthier. And the last one is assuming we know the thoughts and needs of the other person without asking. Remember I said you're not supposed to be reading the other person's mind. So the other part of that is that if they don't tell you how they're thinking and feeling, don't just make it up. Don't just be like, all right, well, it might be this, Don't just make it up and decide, okay, I think this is what it is, without asking them. If you think that's what it is, ask them if that's what it is. Because a lot of times we think they're thinking one thing and they're thinking a whole different thing. A woman told me that her boyfriend was acting really strange and she thought he was having an affair. She was like, Queen, he cheating on me, he acting weird. And he was acting kind of weird. And I was like, well, you don't know if he's cheating or not. Let's look at the cards. And the cards didn't really give me the indication of infidelity. It gave me the indication that he had a surprise. That's exactly what it said, a surprise. And I was like, he has a surprise. And I was like, listen, don't think the worst. You know, they're not giving us that indication, so don't think the worst. Come to find out, he was acting funny because he wanted to propose. And he did propose. And they got married much, much later. But the point was that she thought he was acting funny because he was doing something sinister. He was acting funny because he was scared. And he knew what he was going to do. He was afraid. He didn't know if she was going to say yes. There was all this stuff going on inside of him that he told her later. But at that time, she didn't know. So there was the surprise. He had bought her a ring. So you can't think that you know what the person, you might know the person with their, you might know, you might really be picking up on it, but ask anyway. That's the smartest way to go. Okay? All right, guys. So let's take a look at our positive comments. The first one came from Duana Malcolm. Hey, Duana. Good to see you as always. Aquarius don't care for small talk. Don't come at me about the weather. That's what you talk about to fill a void in time or to cure an awkward silence. If you talk to me about the weather, I'm just going to say, yep, and keep it pushing. Yeah, I'm not too fond of small talk either. Music list. From someone who went from the detached part of Aquarius to years later, now can't get rid of them. I definitely agree. It's a totally different vibe. Let me mention it took a while to get there. We're discussing marriage next. Congratulations. Yeah, I can understand why you would say it took a while to get there. Aquarius, especially those of us who've been hurt or been in a bad situation, move slowly. When I was younger, I moved a lot faster. I met somebody, I liked them, okay, there it is. Now, I move really slow. I move so slow that it's annoying to some of my suitors because I want to talk to you over a period of time. I want to come from different angles. I want to see you in different situations. So it is very true. We do move like a snail. But once an Aquarius attaches, and this is where the problem comes in, because once we attach, detaching is a son of a bitch. Okay? It's much easier just to not attach in the first place for an Aquarius. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So you come back soon because I got so much more to say. See ya.